What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So, Duchess Meghan Markle, she's reached out to her father, Thomas Markle, after his emergency leg amputation. Now, if you guys remember, her dad was not a big part of her life, and her sister, Samantha, as well as her father, when she first got with Prince Harry, they really, ran all kind of smear campaigns. Um, in accordance with the British media until her husband, Prince Harry, had to step up and actually sue them. But they were writing all kind of, defamatory things about Meghan in order to make a quick buck, essentially. They sold her out, literally and figuratively. So for him to have not been a big part of her life. Her mom Doria held it down throughout her entire childhood. But Doria was essentially a single mother, right? Which is why I thought that it was important for me to put these childhood photos up, just because I feel like those were the times that Meghan probably could recall. And she really, felt sympathy for your father, because even though your parents, you might not have been blessed with good parents or present parents, they're still a part of you, right? Genetics and DNA are still very strong, and you have to, forgive them and love them, even if you have to love them from afar. Just recognize they might not have had the capacity to love you or raise you properly. Fortunately for Meghan, she was blessed with an amazing mother who is still by her side, whenever she needs her to this day, but helped raise her to be the Duchess that she became today. So let's go ahead and get into this article from People magazine. It says Meghan Markle reaches out to her dad, Thomas Markle, after his emergency leg amputation. The Duchess of Sussex has reached out to her father following the amputation to his leg. And on a side note, that is heartbreaking, for him to lose a limb. So I hope that he's doing better health wise. Meghan Markle reached out to her father after he underwent surgery to amputate his left leg and is currently in intensive care. I can confirm that she has reached out to her father, a spokesperson for the Duchess of Sussex tells People. The update comes after Thomas's son, Thomas Markle Jr., told the Daily Mail that the 81-year-old had his leg amputated below the knee on December 3rd in the Philippines, where the pair have been living since earlier this year. Okay, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was living in the Philippines with his son. And that's scary. And listen, shout out to the Philippines. But if I were to have an amputation, I would want to have it in a first world country. It wouldn't even have to be the US, maybe like, Canada or somewhere in Europe. But I hope that it went well, where the pair have been living, okay, since early this year, after a blood clot in his thigh reportedly cut off his circulation. He described the emergency procedure as life or death, saying that his father's foot had turned blue and then black before the doctors determined that the amputation was necessary. Meghan's spokesperson did not provide further details, but a source notes that the outreach from Meghan was very recent. Thomas reached out to Markle Jr. For comment. I didn't even know that or Thomas Markle Jr., I didn't even know that he had a son. So she has a brother and a sister, Samantha. Thomas Jr. told Daily Mail that his father remains in intensive care and that he'll be there for the next 2 or 3 days, and he's in critical condition as the doctors monitor for possible infection. See, and that's the problem, right, with amputation. That was the first thing that I thought of. I hope that there wasn't an infection because of, this health issue and then having the amputation done in the Philippines. But I mean, if there's not time to fly you out, if it's, a life situation, then that is so serious. Oh my gosh. Thomas's health crisis follows several years of reported medical challenges, including a stroke in 2022. Meghan, who's 44, has been estranged from her father since shortly after her 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. The rift began after Thomas admitted to staging paparazzi photos, and according to Meghan, was not truthful with her about his communications with the press. Yeah, they sold her out, which is really just disappointing because, that's your blood. You know what I mean? Like, and it's so sad. And I feel like Meghan was successful in her own right even before she married Prince Harry. Like, she was, a very successful actress with Suits. She had her own lifestyle brand um, on Instagram. So it's like she was a multimillionaire before then. So I feel like if he could have just reached out or stayed in touch with her, then maybe she would have been a lot more willing to help him instead of throwing her to the wolves for whatever the chump change they gave him to the press after she became the wife to Prince Harry. In her 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan said that she felt that her relationship had been um, irrevocably damaged. She says, I've lost my father. Wow. And I don't blame her. Um, Harry said that he shouldered some of the blame for the fallout. She had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. He said, adding, if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad. That's not true. I feel bad. I mean, Prince Harry has gone through a whole lot as well because he has his own issues with his own father. You guys remember that King Charles removed their security while they were in Canada, and then Tyler Perry stepped in and let them stay in his mansion on the West Coast in California. But I mean, they were out there in Canada completely vulnerable to, whatever. So his father has issues with him as well. He wanted to strip them of their titles. He's not close, with his grandchildren, and he's having his own issues with Prince William too. So it's just like, two toxic families. I'm glad that they have each other. I will say that, and I'm glad that they're very protective over their two kids as well. The news arrives the same week that Meghan's latest Netflix special with Love Meghan, a holiday celebration, debuted, spotlighting her family celebrations and traditions in Montecito with Prince Harry and their children, Prince Archie, who's 6, and Princess Lilibet, who's 4. So listen, I'm so glad that, she had the opportunity to reach out to her father while he's still alive. Life is short, and it's heartbreaking, that type of betrayal, that he sold out his daughter to the press and the paparazzi photos. And I'm glad that Prince Harry and Meghan got out of Britain. Uh, they chose to live their life, on their own terms. They're not taking any money from, Britain. They're both entrepreneurs and they're doing well financially. But it just goes to show, it's like, if you were willing to sell out your own child for that chump change, not only could you have, I'm sure, gotten a lot more help financially from Meghan now that she's doing, much better and in a much better mental place, but also he could have been closer. He could have, seen his grandchildren. He could have had that relationship, and that's priceless. But instead, he chose greed and money. And again, he wasn't a big part of her upbringing in the first place. So the whole situation is heartbreaking. But I hope that he's doing better health wise. I hope that it wasn't an infection or anything like that. I hope that he is able to um, just continue to live out the rest of his life peacefully. Perhaps if Meghan chooses, if she's in a place where she's healed, that she can have a closer relationship with her father before he leaves this earth. Because I mean, if he's already, if he's had a stroke and now he's losing limbs, it doesn't sound like he's doing really well, health wise. So my heart goes out to him, and the rest of the family. It is truly unfortunate, but I will say that I'm glad to see that Meghan was the bigger person, that she reached out to him, and um, that she's continuously flourishing. Her Netflix show is doing well. Her As Everline has expanded, they've added like more, you know, items. They have like chocolates now, and they have just different like sparkling wines, I think now. So they're doing well. Harry's doing well. He was just on the Stephen Colbert show recently. So they're doing well. You know, the kids look healthy and happy. And that's perfect. It reminds me of, you know, Psalm 23, where, you know, the Lord will essentially prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. She's over there preparing all kind of charcuterie boards and and literally making food for, you know, her friends and loved ones on her Netflix show. But that is a blessing. He really will make our enemies our footstool if we continue to trust in him and just treat people well, continue to focus on, you know, the things that he has for us. And the fact that she reached out, you know, shows what type of loving daughter she is, even if it's not reciprocated, you know. So anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.